I am going to show you all the lesson pages in our Bible Song Piano Lesson Book 1 and let you know what you are supposed to do on each page. Are you ready? Let's go. Page 5. Using a red object like a clothespin or crayon, find the two black keys standing together. Then place your red object on the white key in between them. That key is named D. Find all the D's on the keyboard and play each one. Also trace around those D's. Page 6. Now find the C's and E's that are sitting outside those sets of two black keys. Also trace around the C's and the E's. Find all the C, D, E sets of keys. Maybe play them too. Page 7. That box at the top of the page is called a stand-up box. Those numbers are right-hand finger numbers. Look at that little hand. Our right-hand thumb is finger 1, our pointer is finger 2, and our tall middle finger is finger 3. And we are going to pretend that finger 1 is blue, finger 2 is red, and finger 3 is green. In that stand-up box are little gray boxes underneath the numbers. They are called beat boxes. They are each the same size. Near the bottom of the page are bigger beat boxes. If you tap very evenly on each box, the space in between each tap is called a beat in music. Those funny little shapes at the bottom of the page and above the numbers in the stand-up box are music notes. We will learn more about them later. We will also learn more about those colored dots and black and white little boxes that we call a key strip. That key strip will fit behind our piano keys, so we know which key to play with which finger. Page 8. Those top 4 shapes are quarter notes. That black squished round part is called the note head. Looks more like a foot. And the tall line is called a stem. Each of those quarter notes gets one of those beats. They just walk, 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 taking a step on each beat box. The next set of notes have empty note heads. These are called half notes, and they get 2 beats. They walk, wait, walk, wait. They step on a beat box, stop, and wait for another beat, then skip a beat box when they take the next step. The bottom set of notes need to be finished. Trace over the gray lines and turn 3 of them into quarter notes and 2 of them into half notes. Page 9. Take a clothespin or some other small object and tap evenly on each quarter note head along that top set of beat boxes. Tap, 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 tap. Now tap the notes in the middle set of beat boxes. Tap, tap, wait, tap. Now tap the notes in the bottom set of beat boxes. Tap, 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 wait. Page 10. This is a drawing of a right hand. Place your hand on top of that drawing. Finger 1, your thumb, is pretend blue. Finger 2, your pointer, is pretend red. Finger 3, your tall middle finger, is pretend green. Now tap evenly with finger 1, then finger 2, and then finger 3 on those numbers above the beat boxes. Those arrows show exactly when you should tap, right at the beginning of the beat box. The numbers look like they are sitting on little platforms. Notice that little dash is above the beat box to show that finger 3 needs to wait. Page 11. This is the very first part of the first song, Jesus Said. It is played on C, D, and E, like the drawing at the top of the page. Your pretend blue finger 1 is going to play on a C. Your pretend red finger 2 is going to play on D. And your pretend green 3 finger is going to play on an E. Find that easy to find D. Put your red 2 finger on the D, then your blue finger 1 and your green finger 3 will be in place on the C and E keys next door to D. At the top of the page is also a cartoon drawing of flat fingers. Put your hand on a table and make your hand flat. Now pretend a balloon is lifting your hand up a little bit, but keep your fingertips on the table. Now your fingers will be curved, just like those cartoon fingers underneath that set of flat fingers. This is called piano position for your hand. Now put your hand in piano position on any 3 side-by-side white keys on the piano. Now push down the key under your blue finger 1, your thumb, but keep all the other fingers in piano position, just like that next drawing of the blue finger pushing down on a pretend key. Practice doing that until you can push down with your finger 1 easily. We call that playing the key with finger 1. Now put your hand in piano position again and then play with finger 2. Remember, playing means pushing the key down. Finger 2 usually works quite well. When you are comfortable playing finger 2, then back to piano position and play finger 3 on a key with all the other fingers still in piano position. Look at those cartoon fingers and try to hold your fingers in the same way when you play with your fingers 1, 2, and 3. And now that dotted stand-up box at the bottom of the page, it needs to be cut out. The instructions are on the back side of the stand-up box. Those little cartoon notes above the finger numbers help you remember that you walk, 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 wait in this part. Page 12. At the top of the page are 2 quarter notes. One is right side up and the other is upside down. Notes can be either way. There are also 2 half notes, one right side up and the other upside down. Trace around those gray note outlines underneath those quarter and half notes and turn 2 of them into half notes and 3 of them into quarter notes. Page 13. At the top of the page, there are what look like little cartoon quarter notes that have been connected with a banner along the top of their stems. Look at the middle of the page, and there is a quarter note plus a flag. When the quarter note and flag are connected, it turns the note into an eighth note. Eighth notes run rather than walk like quarter notes. They go twice as fast as quarter notes. When there are several in a row, those flags get in the way, so they stretch out and become a banner instead, and the banner stops when it touches the stem of the last note. Page 14. Those beat boxes under the top set of quarter notes have the word walk in each of them, but also a number. The numbers are counting the number of boxes. That blue beat box is box number 1, the red box is box number 2, the green box is box number 3, and the bright pink box is box number 4. Tap through these quarter notes using the walk words. The next set of boxes just have the number of each box in them. Tap very evenly through these quarter notes using the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at the next set of boxes. Eighth notes just run, run, run instead of walking like quarter notes do. It is a bit hard to run exactly twice as fast as the quarter notes. That little clothespin is reminding us that when we tap, we lift up the object we are using, or our finger, between the taps. So if we said tap and for each beat box rather than saying run, run, we would probably tap those eighth notes properly. However, it is much easier to use the number of each beat box when we have to deal with eighth notes. Look at the bottom beat boxes now. Those arrows are showing exactly when the eighth note should be tapped. Try tapping those eighth notes now, saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Put your feet on the floor, tap the floor with your heel when you say a number, and lift your heel off the floor when you say and. So your heel is going down, up, as you are counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Remember, with eighth notes, you tap on both the number and the word and. The eighth notes with the banner are much easier to read than the ones with the flags. Page 15. Here are the beat boxes for part 2 and part 3 of our song. Cut out part 2 and practice playing this part until you can do it with no help at all. Play it in different sets of CDEs on the piano. The top of the page has a drawing reminding you of how the C, D, and E look on the piano keys, and also reminding you to use the proper fingers. When you can play part 2 well, then play part 1 and part 2 in a row. If you are tapping your heel, when your heel is down, you are tapping at the beginning of the beat box, and when your heel is up, that is the and, or middle of the beat box. When part 2 is easy, then work on part 3. When that is easy, play the whole song. Play and sing at the same time when you can do both. Page 16. This is a game. In the bigger box at the beginning of each of the 2 rows is a note. Find all the notes in the row with the smaller boxes next to that bigger note that look just like it, and circle them. So you will be finding eighth notes in the top row of notes and half notes in the next row. Page 17. At the top of the page is our Jesus Said song written with little notes. It is called music notation. Look at those arrows underneath the notes. When the sound of the song goes up, the note heads move up on the page. When the sound stays the same, the note heads stay even. And when the sound goes down, the note heads move down on the page. Wow! We can see the shape of the sound of our song. And at the bottom of the page is the whole song written like you learned it with the stand-up boxes, only smaller. Page 18. Here are 3 drawings of piano keys. The top drawing has a set of 2 black keys circled in red. There's one more set of 2 black keys in that drawing. Find them and circle them. In the middle keyboard drawing, there's a set of 3 black keys together, circled in green. Find and circle the other set of 3 black keys. The bottom keyboard drawing has one set of 2 black keys and the next set of 3 black keys circled together. This is called a 5 black key set. Find and circle the other 5 black key set. Page 19. This is a drawing of a pointer right hand. You already know that we pretend that finger 1 is blue, finger 2 is red, and finger 3 is green. Now we learn that we pretend finger 4 is brown and finger 5 is pink, our pinky finger. Color those circles on the fingers to match the colors of the finger numbers. Then color the rest of the pointer right hand whatever colors you wish. Pages 20, 21, and 22. The keyboard on page 20 is missing sets of keys. Page 21 has sets of keys to cut out. Cut them out and glue them in the proper places on that keyboard drawing. There are more key groups than you need, so be careful. Page 23. Just a reminder, remember to keep playing that first song that you already know every day, preferably as many times as you are old, and singing the words as you play. Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me." And now the beginning of our new song, God Made Flowers. Look at that top keyboard drawing and you will see that we are going to use all 5 of our fingers. Cut out part 1, place behind your piano keys, and practice that part until you can do it without any help. Be sure to use correct fingers and play with correct rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The rhythm sounds good with the words. God made flowers and. As soon as you can play part 1, cut out and go on to part 2. Lots of eighth notes. Play it slowly until your fingers learn to move in the correct order. You can practice just a couple fingers on the keys at a time, like the 5-4. Do those 2 over and over until they are easy. Then do the next 2 fingers on the keys, 3-4. 3-4 is usually easier to play than 5-4. When 3-4 is easy, do both little parts, 5-4-3-4. Keep adding a little bit at a time until you can play part 2 with no help. Tapping heels on the floor while playing really helps with keeping proper rhythm. Sing the words as you play, busy little bumblebees. Then, like in all our songs, go back to part 1 and play both part 1 and part 2 in a row. Play those 2 parts until you can play and sing them with no help. Page 24. Another matching game. Circle the flowers in row 1 that are exactly the same as the first flower. Row 2 is just a review of the notes we have learned about so far and the number of beats each kind of note gets. There's a weird one, a 3-beat note. Oh, we're going to learn about that one soon. Page 25, Part 3 and Part 4 of God Made Flowers. Learn each part like you've learned the others. When you have learned all 4 parts so well you need no help, remember to play this song every day along with your first song, singing as you play. The words are God made flowers and busy little bumblebees. God made stars and God made me. Page 26. These are notes to finish. Make 1 1/4 note, 1 1/2 note, then just finish the set of 2 1/8 notes and the 1 1/8 note. Page 27. Here is our God Made Flowers song in music notation. Notice those arrows under the notes, the shape of the sound of our song again. All the words to the song are also on this page, and the way we learned the song with the stand-up boxes. Page 28. Now we see that half note with the dot behind it. Just by putting a dot behind the half note gives the note another beat. So dotted half notes get 3 beats. We are going to have dotted half notes in our next song, the Bible. Page 29. Again, remember to play the songs you already know every day, preferably singing as you play. Cut out part 1, place behind your piano keys. Play this part until you do not need any help. Then cut out part 2 and learn it super well. Remember that last brown finger 4 holds down the piano key for 3 beats. Then play part 1 and part 2 in a row, singing as you play if you can at this point. Page 30, Line Note Game. That first note has a dotted red line going right through the center of its note head. Find all the other notes whose note heads have a line going right through the center of their note head and circle those notes. Page 31. Cut out and learn these two parts just as you did with parts 1 and 2. When you can play these two parts with no help needed, play parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 in a row. Be learning the words to this song too, so you can sing and play it. Page 32. A space note game. That first note is sitting in a space with a line on top of its note head and also a line at the bottom of its note head. This is called a space note. Space notes only need a line at the top or at the bottom, and they are still space notes. Anything that is not a line note is a space note. Circle all the space notes that you can find. Page 33. We continue with our BIBLE song. Learn part 5 and part 6 like you learned the other parts. Be careful with part 6. Has 2 eighth notes at the beginning. When you can play these two parts super well with no help needed, play parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in a row. Be learning those words too. Page 34. This funny-looking shape is called a treble clef. When this treble clef sits at the beginning of the lines of music, it is telling us that we will be using our right hand on the keys of the piano that sound from the middle to the very highest. Trace over these treble clefs following the example of the first one. Start where that blue star is, then go in the direction of the red arrows. Page 35. Part 7 and Part 8 of our BIBLE song. Again, learn each part just like you learned the other parts. When these two parts are learned well, play parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in a row. Keep learning the words until you can sing and play this song. The BIBLE, yes, that's the book for me. I'll stand alone on the Word of God, the BIBLE. Play and sing your previous songs every day too, a couple times a day. Page 36. This funny shape is called a bass clef. When we see that shape, our left hand plays the middle to lower keys on the piano. Trace and color these bass clefs using the example of the arrows on the first bass clef. Page 37. Here is that treble clef sitting at the beginning of 5 lines that we use for notes. There are also 2 fours sitting on those lines, one above the other. These 2 numbers are called a time signature. The top 4 with the blue arrow pointing to it tells us there are 4 beats per measure. Music is written in little groups. We have been learning songs with each part having 4 beat boxes. That set of 4 beat boxes is called a measure in music notation when that top number is a 4. That bottom 4 with the bright pink arrow pointing to it tells us that quarter notes get 1 beat. We have been learning about quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes, and dotted half notes, all getting a certain amount of beats according to the fact that quarter notes get 1 beat. At this time, we are going to only use time signatures with a 4 on the bottom, so all our quarter notes will have 1 beat. Now look at the middle of the page. Our 5 lines and spaces for notes, and some red straight lines connecting the top line with the bottom line. It looks like those red lines are making boxes. Each of those boxes has enough notes in it to make a total of 4 beats, just like our sets of 4 beat boxes. Put one of your hands in a fist position. Now put up one finger for that first quarter note in that first measure. Put up another finger for the next quarter note. Put up another finger for the next quarter note. And put up one more finger for the next quarter note. You have 4 fingers up for 4 beats, and that is where that second red line is. The measure is full. Now look at that next measure. Put up 2 fingers for the first half note. Now put up 2 more fingers for the next half note. 4 fingers already. Measure full. Red line is there. Now you put the measure lines where they belong in that bottom set on the music lines and spaces. Put your fingers up for each note. 4 fingers equal a measure. Page 38. Here's our song, the B-I-B-L-E, in music notation. Notice the arrow showing the shape of the sound of our song. Also, look at those boxes drawn to show each measure. Every box has notes that add up to 4 beats. Some measures have more notes than the others, but the notes still just add up to 4 beats. And at the bottom of the page is our whole B-I-B-L-E song, written like you learned it, with the beat boxes. Page 39. Sometimes we put our hands in a 5-finger hand position. 1 on C, 2 on D, 3 on E, 4 on F, and 5 on G. Our hand would look like that hand drawn on the top keyboard if our hand was big enough. My hands are big enough to do that now, but for years my hands were way too small to reach, so I had to do what the lower drawings are showing. Fingers 1 and 2 can always reach C and D, but not always E. So when playing E, you just have to move your hand a little bit to the right so your middle finger 3 is on top of the E key. Then move a little bit to the right so your finger 4 can play the F key. Then move a little bit to the right so your finger 5 can play the G key. God made us so we have what is called muscle memory. So our body learns to automatically move correctly after a while to play those keys in a row, one at a time. My hands are still small, so my hands have learned to move much more than many other pianists. No problem. Practice playing from C to G with fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 so they get used to it. Page 40. The B-I-B-L-E song took up much less space with music notation rather than the beatbox way of learning. So we are going to use real notes and measures to show us our beats now. We call those 5 lines with spaces in between a music staff. Our new walking song has a treble clef at the beginning, so this is called a treble staff. Right at the very beginning, it also has that 4/4 time signature. So each measure will have 4 beats, and our quarter notes will have 1 beat all the way through the song. Time signatures only show up at the very beginning, not on each line like the treble clef does. This time we will not cut out our song. We will set up our book on the piano. Pianos and keyboards have music racks for books. If you are using a keyboard that does not have a music rack, you will have to prop up your music book against something so you can easily see these pages. Piano keys at the top of the page are showing you your hand position. Above that first set of treble staff lines far to the right is the word measure 1. When we play with music notation, we begin at the top set of staff lines, then move down 1 music staff at a time. This song starts on what is called middle C with finger 1. When looking at music, that note that stands for middle C is for just 1 C on the piano keyboard. It is the C that is close to where your voice is. It is not high or low sounding. On pianos, it is also near the middle part of the keyboard. Now play that middle C with finger 1. The arrow above that 1 is pointing to the quarter note that stands for that middle C, so we know that our middle C gets 1 beat, and then we move to the next note, up with finger 2, D, again for 1 beat. Then we move up to the next note, E, again for 1 beat. Then we move up to the next note, F, again for 1 beat. So we have our hands in position and are playing with the proper fingers, just like we did when we were using beat boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look down to the next set of staff lines, measure 2. This is an easy measure. Just play with your finger 5 3 times in a row. The first time for 1 beat because it is for a quarter note, the second time 1 beat for that second quarter note, and the third time holding the key down for 2 beats for that half note. Page 41. Here are measures 3 and 4 of our walking song. Start with the top treble staff, measure 3. With your hand in that C major hand position, begin with finger 5 for 1 beat, then 4 for 1 beat, then 3 for 1 beat, then 2 for 1 beat. Add measure 4, which is an easy one just like measure 2. Play with finger 1 for 1 beat, finger 1 again for 1 beat, then finger 1 again, holding down the key for 2 beats for that half note. Play your whole walking song, going up to G, then down to C, and review the songs you already know every day. Page 42. Here we see our 5-line 4-space music staff. We have seen these lines and spaces lots of times already. Look at the top set with note heads only. We count the lines from the bottom up, like the numbers next to those empty note heads. Point to those note heads and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We count those space note heads from the bottom up as well. Now point and count those space note heads. And then there is a real quarter note sitting in the bottom number 1 space. In the blue box, circle all the space note heads. In the red box, circle all the line note heads. Page 43. We have seen music staff lines and the treble staff with a time signature. Here we see 2 sets of music staff lines. The top set has our treble clef sign, and the bottom has the bass clef sign. The 2 sets are not too far from each other and have a line connecting them with a fancy curved brace bar. This set with both the treble staff and the bass staff is called the grand staff. We almost always use our right hand to play the notes on the treble staff and our left hand on the bass staff. Our 4/4 time signatures are also there, telling us 4 beats per measure, and quarter notes get 1 beat. Page 44. This is a page showing us what we call rests in music. When we see a rest, we are quiet and don't play a key. In that green box is a quarter note that gets 1 beat. That shape next to the quarter note is a quarter rest, and it tells us to be quiet for 1 beat. In the red box is a half note, which gets 2 beats, and a half rest that looks kind of like a hat that tells us to be quiet for 2 beats. That note in the blue box is called a whole note. A whole note has an empty note head with no stem and is 4 beats long. One of these notes can fill up a whole measure. The whole rest looks like a box with a cover, must be full, and tells us to be quiet for 4 beats. Near the bottom of the page, we see 2 measures. The first measure has a whole rest in it, so we play nothing for 4 beats. In the second measure, there is a half rest, so we are quiet for 2 beats, then play a quarter note on the 3rd beat, and are again quiet on the 4th beat. Page 45. Here we see two pointer hands that are stacked with the palm of one hand on the back of the other hand, called piggyback. Blue fingers on each hand are the fingers that are way to the left. If you look at the top little sets of pointer hands, you see the right hand sliding to the left on top of the gray-colored left hand. So you can see why the left hand little finger is actually the left hand blue finger. And the right hand pink finger is over the top of the left hand thumb. So the left hand thumb is pink. Finger numbers match when we put the palms of our hands together, like when we clap. So fingers that look alike have the same finger number. Let's look at page 46. Page 46. Those two small pointer hands at the top of the page show the colored dots and the finger number colors that match the dots. Color those big numbers on the bigger pointer hands so the colors match the color of the dots. Page 47. Now we are going to find out why our finger colors go in order from left to right instead of matching our finger numbers. When we put our right hand in the C major hand position, our blue finger 1, our thumb, is on the C key. If we put our left hand in the C major hand position, we would have to hold our hand upside down in order to have our left thumb on C. So when our left hand is right side up in the C major hand position, our small finger 5 is on that C. If we want to play a song that we already know with our right hand, but want to use both our hands, all we have to do is put our hands in the exact same positions, like that C major hand position, and then play with the same color fingers with each hand at the same time, and we will get the same song being played with both hands. We call this playing in parallel. Same named keys being played at the same time with both our hands at the same time. This is our right-left together song. Look at that first measure. The first quarter note is played with the right hand because the finger number is above that blue line, the arrow is pointing up, and it is a treble staff note, that treble clef middle C. And the finger 1 is playing on that middle C because your right hand is in the middle C major hand position. And look, there is a rest lined up underneath that first treble clef note sitting on the bass staff. The second beat in this measure is played with the left hand finger 5, again on a C, the C that is the next one to the left of the middle C, and a rest lined up above that note sitting on the treble staff. And now there are two half notes for beats 3 and 4. Those two half notes are lined up, one above the other. When notes are lined up this way, they are played at the same time. So you play two C's, one with your right hand and the other with your left hand at the same time, and hold down the keys for beats 3 and 4. You can see the shape of this measure with those note heads, high, low, together. Play this lots of times until your hands and fingers work together well, and it is easy. Page 48. Here we see the treble staff again, but that second line from the bottom has a red line on it. The treble clef shape circles around that line in order to let you know that line is special. The line note on top of that line is the first G to the right of middle C. Usually sounds a little high with our voice. Any kind of note sitting on top of that second line is that famous G of the treble clef. So our treble clef is also called the G clef, since it is showing us where that famous G is. Find the famous G's on that treble staff inside the blue box and circle them. Page 49. This is measure 2 of our right-left together song. Play it like you played measure 1, only this time with right hand red finger 2 and left hand red finger 4. You will be playing on Ds. When it is easy for you to do this, play measures 1 and 2 in a row. Page 50. Here we see the bass staff. Those 2 dots of the bass clef sign are showing us the F, that is the first F to the left of middle C. So no matter what kind of notes are sitting on top of that line that is going in between those 2 dots of the bass clef, they need to be played on the first F key to the left of middle C. So now we know about our famous G and our famous F. And just like the treble clef is also called the G clef, the bass clef is also called the F clef. Find those famous Fs on the bass staff inside the red box and circle them. Page 51. Now we see measure 3 of our right-left together song. Actually, our finger 3s on both hands are the same finger, our tall middle fingers. Staying in the C major hand position, these finger 3s will be playing on E's. When you can do this well, play measures 1, 2, and 3 in a row. Page 52. 3 boxes of games. There's a row of images in little boxes. The first box is larger. Circle the images in the row following that first larger image that are exactly the same as that first larger image. By the way, in the top row in the blue box with the quarter note at the beginning, only quarter notes that are right side up like that first quarter note are considered exactly the same. The upside down quarter note is a quarter note, but it is upside down, and the first quarter note is right side up. Tiny difference, but one we have to notice. Just do one box row at a time. Don't try to do all these at one time. Page 53. Measure 4. Do like the others, this time with right hand brown finger 4 and left hand brown finger 2. Page 54. Each of these boxes outlined in black has beat boxes and notes inside. That first box shows 4 beat boxes, so you have to change those notes into the correct kind of notes so there's actually only 4 beats. 4 one-beat notes equal 4 quarter notes. You may need help for this activity, maybe lots of help. Remember, only 4 fingers up for the 4 beat boxes and 3 fingers up for the 3 beat boxes. 55. Measure 5. Now we are using right hand pink finger 5 and left hand pink finger 1. Right hand, left hand, hands together. When you can play this easily, play measures 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a row. Make sure you are playing with the correct rhythm. It is quarter note for beat 1, quarter note for beat 2, half note for beats 3 and 4. Page 56. Here we see our whole right-left together song, and we have words for our song too. The arrows on that top keyboard are pointing to the keys that our blue fingers play, our red fingers play, our green fingers play, our brown fingers play, and our pink fingers play. Remember that note right under the bottom line of the treble staff on top of a teeny line called a ledger line is our middle C. Page 57. Here is our Jesus Said song with the right hand and left hand colored finger numbers. You already play the song with your right hand with no help needed, so now learn it one step at a time with both hands together. Take your time and let your hands learn to play together well. When you can play the whole song, play and sing. Page 58. Here is our God Made Flowers song. Learn this one with both hands in parallel, one step at a time, And again, when you can play the whole song easily, play and sing. And also remember to be playing all the songs you know every day, so your hands do not forget how to play them, and your brain does not forget the words, so you can continue to play and sing all of them. It is really enjoyable to play and sing songs that have become easy. Page 59. Here are the first 4 measures of the B-I-B-L-E song. So now start learning this song with your hands playing in parallel. When you can play these 4 measures, keep going with the next 4 measures on page 60. Page 60, the last 4 measures of the B-I-B-L-E song and the words for the whole song. As soon as you can play the whole song, play and sing. Page 61. Here's the grand staff. The 2 notes in that red box are lined up like that blue arrow is showing. That means those 2 notes are played at the same time, one with the right hand and one with the left hand. The green box has 2 notes on the treble staff and 2 notes on the bass staff, and all 4 are lined up. So the 2 notes on the treble staff are played with the right hand, and the 2 notes on the bass staff are played with the left hand, all at the same time. We haven't done that yet. Page 62. Look at the first measure of that song on the top grand staff. We see 2 notes stacked on top of one another, both in the bass staff, with finger numbers 3 and 1 above them, also stacked on top of one another. So that means your left hand needs to be in the C major hand position, with left hand green finger 3 on the E key and left hand pink finger on the G key. Then both keys have to be played at the same time with those 2 fingers of the left hand. Just practice doing that until your fingers are able to do it. When your 2 left hand fingers can push down both of those keys at the same time, then start working on these first 2 measures. When we play more than 1 key at a time with the same hand, we are playing what is called a chord. So in measure 1 for beat 1, beat 2, and beat 3, you play that chord. Then do not play anything for beat 4, since there is a quarter rest there. Measure 2 is exactly the same. So for those 2 measures, you play chord, 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 rest, chord, 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 rest. Those chords are for the sounds of Jesus knocking at the door in your heart. Practice these 2 measures until it is easy for your left hand to play these chords, because your hands are going to keep playing them in the next 4 measures. When I say easy, that means you can play this part all by yourself without any help, and that is called memorized. You know where to play it on the piano keys, your brain knows what it sounds like, you know the exact rhythm, and your hands and fingers know how to make it all happen. So take your time. Your wonderful hands and fingers can do it. Now look at the lower grand staff. The left hand still plays the left hand chords, but now the right hand is joining in. Your right hand is also in the C major hand position, that C being the middle C. So play right hand pink finger 5 at the same time the left hand plays that first chord. Practice just that first set of notes until your right hand and left hand can play all 3 of those notes at the same time. Beat 2 has 2 eighth notes in the right hand. Play the first eighth note at exactly the same time the chord for beat 2 is played. Then play the second eighth note while the left hand is still holding the chord down for the beat. Remember, heel down for the first eighth note and heel up for the second eighth note. Practice that until you can do it well. Take your time. Let those hands and fingers get used to playing the keys this way. You are training what is called muscle memory. Once your hands can do this exact set of notes with this song, They will always be able to do the exact same set of notes if they find them in other songs. That is why you have to be patient with them. Now play beats 1 and 2 in a row until it is easy. When it is easy to play beats 1 and 2, add that third beat, chord in the left hand and right hand green finger 3 on E, all quarter notes. When you can play these 3 notes easily, go back and play beats 1, 2, and 3, and then add that right hand red finger 2 on that D for beat 4. Remember not to play anything with your left hand for beat 4, quarter rest there. Whoa, you are learning to do a lot with this song. Play that measure until it is really easy to play. Then play measures 1, 2, 3 in a row until it is easy for you to play those first 3 measures. Remember, easy means it is memorized. You can play those measures all by yourself with no help. Look at the keys and play it. Measure 4 has groups of notes you have already taught your fingers to play. First, right hand green finger 3 on E with your left hand chord. Then right hand pink finger 5 on G with your left hand chord. Then pink finger 5 with the chord again. Then pink finger 5 all by itself with no sound in the left hand. Play these 4 measures lots and lots of times until it is super easy to play them one right after the other. Remember, easy means memorized. Take all the time you need. This song is not meant to be learned super fast, just super well. Page 63. Top grand staff, measure 5. Work on one set of notes at a time again. These are also sets of notes that your hands have learned to play. They are just in a different order. When measure 5 is easy, play measures 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a row. Measure 6. The left hand is still playing 3 chords in a row, followed by a quarter rest. The right hand plays green finger 3 on E with the first chord, then holds the key down while the left hand plays the second and third chords. For beat 4, the right hand plays pink finger 5 on G while the left hand rests. When measure 6 is easy, play measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in a row. Play all these measures lots of times so they get really easy to play. Your fingers practically play all by themselves. These are lots of measures. You are learning a really great song. Now the lower grand staff. Again, learn just one set of notes at a time until easy to play. The left hand is now just playing one key at a time instead of those chords. Be careful with that second beat. 2 eighth notes in the treble clef with your right hand and a rest for the bass clef and the left hand. Learn the 7th measure until easy to play, then learn the 8th measure. When both are learned, play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now only 3 more quite easy measures to go. Page 64. Measure 9 has quarter notes in the right hand, but the left hand has half notes. Remember to just hold down those half notes while the right hand plays 2 quarter notes. Practice until the measure's easy. Note measure 10. Easy. Something your hands have already done in your Up Down Together song. E with E, then D with D. Both sets are half notes. Then C with C. Whole notes, 4 beats. Practice these measures until totally easy. Then play the whole song. Play and sing as soon as you can. You will love playing this song when it gets super easy, and others will enjoy having you play it for them to listen to. You can even teach people to sing the words with you as you play and sing Jesus is Knocking. Play all your songs every day. Do not forget them. They are all telling you something wonderful about Jesus.